Alrighty guys, I'm looking around a house that was built in 1906. It is way up there. Beautiful place. Now, I think mostly up there around the house is all fill dirt. It's like an unnatural clay, and all I found up there was like the end of a pencil and a big deep chunk of lead. I'm gonna give it one more try, but I decided to come the whole way down here because right in here, about maybe 10 yards back through all this brush, there's a little creek that runs through here, and there's an old bridge, and you have another really old house on the other side here. I'll show you. Right there. So I came down here way on the edge of the property thinking this is where everyone came back in the day to get down into the creek around this bridge, and the first decent find I made down here, it was pretty deep, as you would assume from the finds being in moist ground all them years. But I went about 5 to 6 inches down there and I found a piece of a harmonica reed. So that's a good sign to find a relic the whole way down here, with the house being way back up there. So I'm going to work this bottom field and hopefully we can pull something out. Alright, I am totally tripping right now. I worked about 6 yards up from where the brush is there separating the creek, and passing up through here, just loads of iron, nothing else. I hit an absolute blasting signal here. I thought was just gonna be trash. I get about 3 inches down and I pull this out, and this is the right thickness for a large scent and the right size. So I am hoping that's what this is. I am really hoping. It's possible I am right around the corner from an 1825 church. So, could that be a large scent from this field? It could be. I'm going to put the brush on it a little bit, the dry brush, and we're going to see what pops out. It might, I actually think it is. I think this is going to be a large scent. Stand by. Well, I tried brushing it and nothing's coming through. The soil's really adhered to it. So we're gonna have to take it back to the car here in a minute. I'm gonna do it after I'm done hunting because I only got about an hour and a half till dark and I wanna comb this place really well. But I'm almost certain this is a large scent. I mean, who knows, it could even be older. But it's the right thickness, it's the right size. Normally if it's a token, you'd see detail on it right away. So potentially an old US large scent. I hope there's still some detail on it. I'm going to get it back to the car here in a bit, but for now we're going to keep swinging. Boy, did that change my mind about this place. Half an hour, all I got was a deep zinc penny up by the house and like a chunk of lead and the end of a pencil. So I'm not sure if you can tell here. The owners told me they used to have a garden down here. You can see where it's squared off, where it's been all tilled and churned. I think all of this ground has been manipulated. That large scent was right on the edge of it, right there. Right on the edge of the old garden. Or at least I think it's a large scent. I'm calling it that right now. But anyway, I figured I'd finish this live. I had another high conductive signal. It sounded like a bigger target. I got into the hole here and I pulled this old piece of pottery out of the hole. Not sure quite how old that is, but I'm down at the original signal now, so we'll see what it is. Thought it was a lid at first, but I don't think so. Well, it doesn't feel super heavy like brass, but it feels lighter than aluminum. I think this might actually be brass. I wonder if that's an... I don't think that's an old... I don't think that's an old horse bridle rosette. It could be. I don't think so, though. We'll have to clean this one up later. That's pretty interesting anyway. Gotta dig those types of things. Not many signals out here, but I can't figure out why. I'm not sure if the ground's just extremely mineralized or there's just tons of nails and iron. It could be both. It's possible that there used to be an old homestead down in here at one point. The jury's still out on that one, but I know at least the owners that live here now had, used it as a garden at some point. But like I said, that 1825 church is not too far down the road on the other side of the bridge there. So I'm going to keep looking. I'd love to find some more colonial stuff in here. Alright, so after cleaning this up, I'm still not sure what it is. You can see right there where it's got some gold coming through. That's where I hit it with the shovel. So it's definitely brass. And the back of it's interesting because it's kind of smooth but folded over in a very peculiar fashion. So I'm not sure what it is, but if you have any idea, please comment. It appears to be fairly old. So there's an area between where they're parked and about right in that circle there. It's a trash pit. There's just all kinds of huge targets buried really deep. One of them I found, I just tested it to see what it was. This was down about 10 inches deep, just aluminum junk. I tried another one here because it was close to the surface, getting back down to by the utility shed over here. And it's pretty neat actually. I'm not sure what it is. It's extremely heavy, but I will be able to figure out what it is, because if you look at it down here, it's got a patent date of May 22nd, 1906, which is the same year the house was built. So that's really cool, even though I have absolutely no idea what it is. All I can tell you is it is very large, and it feels like it's got to be brass or something like that. But that's pretty cool. All right, let's keep looking around here. I'm going to work back down and grid off the area where I found that potential large cent. This is going to weigh the pouch down. So this actually turned out to be quite an interesting find. I didn't have any idea what it was when I dug it up, but it's actually an antique percolator. As you can see on there, Meteor percolator, use finely ground coffee. It's got a patent date right there of June 12th, 1906. But then down here, it says patent March 6th, 1906 to May 22nd, 1906. So quite a few different dates on it there. But very interesting to get an antique percolator. Never thought I'd find something like this, but I didn't even know they made them this heavy duty way back then, in 1906. So that's actually pretty interesting. I'll have to see if I can pull a picture up and see what the whole thing used to look like. But that's pretty cool. About 112 years old. Well, at least when it was patented. It could be a little bit newer than that. I'm back over by the creek now, right in the corner where it leads back up into the woods, and I had an overload signal. Curiosity had me because I figured it'd be old. I dug it up, and I'm not sure what it is, but it looks like it almost has spokes on it, like it was some sort of wheel or something like that. No idea though. Interesting spot here with all these old relics though. I'm going to have to figure out if they own going up into the woods here. When this brush is down, I'd love to look around that creek if that's still on their property. But yep, found that. Still by the creek, can you hear it? And the catbird. Man, them catbirds been chasing me everywhere. I've had one in like 3 videos I've done recently. But anyway, got a big signal right down here. Check it out, another old relic. It is it's the part of an old lantern. You can see the knob on there. Hopefully there's a patent date on that little piece right there. There usually is. That's sweet. Part of an old lantern. Maybe they were coming down here by the creek at night. Sweet. So I got that lantern part cleaned up, and it does have a design on here and some markings. I don't find a lot of these, so I'm not familiar with it. Somebody might notice this marking or know the time period that it's from. I haven't researched it yet. But after a little bit of scrubbing there, it appears it says something like possibly G.W. Brown and Company, or at least looks something similar to that. Maybe you can make it out a little bit differently than what I'm seeing there. But I assume that that's probably around the age of that vintage percolator, or maybe as old as the large cent. That would be awesome. But interesting piece anyway. Nice relic for the collection. Alright guys, I've been working on this coin for a few minutes with a toothpick here, and I want you to see what I uncovered so far. you can see this side is really got a really thick crust on it. And you can see back here I did uncover the 1 cent. This is a US large cent. So what I've been doing is, I mean, this has a really thick layer of crust on it. All I'm doing is I have this toothpick and I'm just gently going over it and peeling the layers back a little bit at a time and pushing all the excess off as I go. And you should see the pile of dirt that I made already from this. But if you do put really old copper coins under water, it can destroy them. So this is one of the better ways to clean them if you want it to come out in better condition and make the detail pop. Because sometimes if you put them under water, it'll change the tone of it too. It'll get like a real deep, darker color, and sometimes it won't ever change back. You can see all this dirt. I just keep pushing it off the side. I have a pile of it already. But I'm still just working on this one little side here. There's so much crust on this. That's why I couldn't tell exactly when I dug it up. I knew it was the right size and thickness of a large cent, and that it most likely was an old copper coin and not a token, especially where I found it too. I just had that gut feeling, and I knew it was the right size. And I was real happy when I was cleaning it off, seeing that 1 cent on the back. This is only the second large cent I've ever found, believe it or not. I found one in Tennessee, and this one was found in Virginia. Not too far away from where I live, though. I'm in the northeastern part of the state. I did find a King George II half penny in Tennessee, which is early to mid 1700s, which was an amazing find. But I don't find these too often, or these types of old coins. This is going to be up there with my oldest coins found. Probably my third oldest one, if I had to guess. Could be second oldest, depends on if this has a date on it or not. I may be able to tell. But I'm going to keep working on it and then do this side a little bit. You can see that 1 cent coming through in the wreath a little bit. So I'm going to finish it up, and I'll let you guys know what it looks like. Alright guys, we're about 10 minutes in to using the toothpick on it, and I didn't do this reverse side too much more. You can see the 1 cent on there. Now, I've been working on this side for about 5 to 6 minutes, and you can see the bust starting to come through, and it looks like I am uncovering a date there. It kind of, as I'm uncovering it, I could be wrong, but it almost looks like a classic head, and it looks like, I think that's the last digit in the date, the way I have it turned, is a 0. I think potentially this might be an 1810 classic head. You don't want to drop it like that, but I'm going to keep working at it. It's really crusty on this side, but you can definitely see that 0 in the date. And the second digit, I don't know, maybe it's a 1, it could be 1820. But I'm going to keep working at it and see if we can get any more of that detail to pop out. I would love to get the full date on this one. Alright guys, I'm about 15 minutes in. There's the coin there. It's coming together pretty nicely. It's really crusty in the front. It's taking a lot of effort, but I blew it up on my phone, and it does appear to be a classic head. And it looks like it's going to be an 1810, so I am really stoked with that. This is going to officially be my oldest US coin dug to date. I misspoke before because the other one was a King George, which obviously wasn't a US coin, and I have found other older foreign coins like Chinese coins and stuff like that. My other large cent that I found was either, I believe it was a coronet head, and it was dateless. It was really toasty. This one's toasty too, but I can see the date on there, 1810. So this is my oldest US coin to date. So I'm chuffed to bits with that. Absolutely stoked. So I'm going to keep working on a little bit more, see if I can uncover more of this below the crust, and I'll let you know how it turns out. Alright guys, I know the lighting isn't perfect in here because it's at night and I'm using my coin lamp. I'll have to show this in the light during the day, but it's coming out nicely. I've been working at it for almost a half an hour now, and I'm at the point where I don't want to rub it a whole lot more with the toothpick, because you got to make sure you get in the fields and don't scratch it once you get down to the detail or start rubbing it off and over the high points. So I think we're close to about as good as we're going to get it. You can clearly see the 1810 now, the stars. The bust came through. It's kind of crusty in the center, but you can still see it. And the back turned out really nice. I could definitely tell that's had not as much crust on it. But one of the things too, I shouldn't be touching this with my bare hands. The oils can mess it up too. So I'm going to be careful with that. I just wanted to do this to shoot the video here. Didn't want to bother putting gloves on. But the oils from your hands, you can see how it's a little wet at the bottom. You don't want to get too much of that on it. But it really popped. You can see the United States of America and the 1 cent. That's about as good as we're going to get it right there. An 1810 classic head large cent. Super happy with that. Upon further inspection of this coin, I am quite pleased right now. In addition to this being an early US large cent, and just for reference, if this didn't have all the corrosion and environmental damage, it would be worth about $100 considering the detail. In this condition, probably, 10 to 15 bucks is, just sort of a historic piece. But anyhow, one of the things I always check for on older coins is to see if the die is rotated, and it was notorious on especially the early 1900s. The early 1800 coins. I know in 1809 they had a lot of issues. I'll have to see if I can find it for you guys, but I have an 1809 half cent that the die is extremely rotated on it. It's a really cool coin, but check this out. You can see I have the bust laying completely straight here according to the camera view. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over, and you can see the 1 cent is facing the wrong direction slightly. I have to kind of correct it. So we'll flip it straight back over. You can see the bust is tilted there. So this isn't too prominent of an error, but it is an error coin. The die is definitely rotated for sure. So that is a really cool. The fact that this is, not only is this my oldest US coin dug to date, but it's also an error coin. So super happy with that. I don't think I'm going to toothpick it anymore with fear of damaging the surfaces further. You don't want to go too far below the dirt and start scraping it. You can see these little shiny points here where I went down a little bit below and started getting down into the metal itself, and you don't want too much of that. You have to make sure you get around and just work in the low points in between all the detail. And I'm really happy with how the reverse came out. That leaving that dirt kind of in the lower points of the coin really helps that detail pop. So I think that's how she's going to stay. So that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you haven't subscribed already, I'd appreciate it if you would consider doing so. Thanks for watching, take care, and happy treasure hunting. I'll see you soon.